Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre. I'm on one today. I'm on a couple today. So let's just jump right into it. This week is crazy, like as far as guests are concerned, as far as next week and guests are concerned. Like this whole week, next week is absolutely jam-packed with some amazing information. Today is Motivational Monday. I am Tayla Andre. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. Can I please tell you that, on Friday, checking in, Friday was absolutely amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I went to work. I did the same thing we always do, day in and day out when it comes to life. But I stayed up all night and cleaned. Like I cleaned. What's the point of cleaning? Like this weekend I was so annoyed because I turned into the kids. I was like, what's the point of cleaning? You know, getting into the corners and crevices and mopping the floor and cleaning the refrigerator and scrubbing the stove. And 3 days later, it looked like trash all over again. So I'm so annoyed with life when it comes to stuff like that. But on Monday, we went ahead and on Friday, I went ahead and cleaned. I stayed up super late, slept in. Hallelujah. I needed that. Slept in on Saturday. And then from there, Saturday, I took a drive to, I was going to say Canada. It's not Canada. I took a drive to, what's that place called? New Hampshire. And I thoroughly enjoyed myself. So can I make a comment? No judgment. Why do we allow white people to monopolize fun? We don't do a lot of things because that's like, oh, white people do that. We don't go hiking. White people do that. We don't go running. White people do that. We don't go jogging. We don't want to do nothing that we see white people doing ever. Ever. And so me and best friend went to New Hampshire this weekend for a kickoff of her birthday or extension of her birthday. And when I tell you, I am so in love with New Hampshire, just like the vibes, we went up there for the foliage, but like it's a completely, when you go to New York, like you can feel the energy of New York, you can feel the vibes. It's that, but good rising. It's that, but different. So it's that energy, but on a different scale. It's like a peaceful energy, a calming energy, a soothing and serene energy. Like you are one with nature and nature is one with you energy. Like it's just a vibe that is indescribable. And so Saturday we get to New Hampshire and we're like way up in New Hampshire. It took us like 2.5 hours to get up there. And so we're like close to, she said this the whole trip. She was like, is that Canada? Are we in Canada yet? So that's how far up north we were. And it was absolutely beautiful, the foliage. So we went for the last day of the luge. It's like this little car that goes up a mountain 2,000 feet straight up, and it was amazing to see like all of the mountains and all of the glory, and like God is so good. No man, like what job blessed, no man can curse. And it really put into perspective like how big, how bold, how beautiful. What does this aria say? My God is so big, so bold, so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. And when you get on top of a mountain and you start seeing like some mountain peaks with snow on it, some mountain peaks with evergreen trees, pines, Christmas trees, pines, evergreens. And just like the air is so fresh. I hated the fact that we had to wear a mask. I had to take my mask off because I probably would never smell that fresh of air ever unless I go back to New Hampshire. But like the air was clean. It was fresh. It was beautiful. Like it was just, I felt like the hills are alive. It was just so dope. Thank you. It's custom made. And for those who don't know, it is my logo. made a comment about my chain, and I do thank you for that. I enjoyed my weekend. I am in love with cinnamon apple donuts. Listen, I don't rock with donuts. I don't eat donuts. I don't even go to Dunkin' Donuts. I don't drink coffee. But when I go down south, it's all about Krispy Kremes because I like the crack. But then up north, they have this thing called the cinnamon apple or apple cinnamon donut. Oh my gosh. Why y'all ain't put me on to this? When I tell you, we let white people monopolize real life. We are so entrenched in this idea of what life is, and we do not just enjoy the simple things, our blessings. Simple. You know what? We're gonna rock out and sing some like motivational music because I'm vibing today with nature, and I was out there hugging trees and thanking the wind. Prior to the conversation that we had with Queen Yanazda Lone Wolf, I was already being thankful for trees and leaves and wind and water and breath and all of this. Like I was already hip. And so just being in the country, it really felt good, and I advise any and all of you to take time if you can. We're all working remote, right? Some people are actually at work, but if you can work remote and take your ass somewhere in the middle of the woods and put your phone down and just enjoy where you are, silence is golden. Silence, that inner silence. There's no words to explain. Good rising, Bill. How are you? There's no words to explain it. It's something that you have to experience for yourself. And if you have never put yourself in a position to do so, because again, we allow white people to monopolize life, to monopolize fun. So please put yourself in a position to be able to be out in nature in the middle of the freaking woods, listening to birds chirp and chipmunks run over sticks and stems and seeds. All right, let's get into some of these. So we have some really dope news articles today. There's a lot of goodness happening in the world right now. But before we get to the goodness, I'm the one, give me the bad news first and then give me the good news. Listen, if you do not have to watch on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn. What you can do is download the app. And if you download the app, Spark FM Online, you can download it onto your smartphone, any smartphone that you have. Download the app, and then you'll be able to listen in your ear, and you don't have to hide the camera while you're at work, baby. You could just pretend like you listening to motivational speeches, because that's exactly what we about to do on Monday. So, as far as news is concerned, I've been talking about this and will continue to talk about this, and I learned that I am number 124,027 for the Greenwood banking. And so I have went ahead and we're going to copy this and post it StreamYard. Here you go. So I promised you guys last week, and in the midst of me just running my mouth talking, I failed to give you the information that you guys asked me for. So the Greenwood banking information for Killer Mike's Greenwood Bank. And so I am number 124,000. Please put yourself on the list. So Killer Mike's majority Black and Latino owned online bank has already tens of thousands on the wait list. And this was 2 days ago. And I'm number 127,000. So clearly the numbers have definitely increased. And so that link has been sent. If you're on my WhatsApp, I sent it. If you're not on my WhatsApp, I put it on my Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, I just added it to the YouTube Facebook video. So it is there. It's greenwoodbank.com. And then it has all of you could just click the link and it'll take you there. Because if you do Greenwood I don't know. It was annoying when I had to find it, and it took me a while. I found it. You have it. If you need anything, inbox me, TaylaMadeMedia@gmail.com, and I'll go ahead and send it to you directly if you're unable to find it for yourself. And so why is this important? So a lot of people don't know that Greenwood was a part of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so for those who don't know, Tulsa, Oklahoma was one of the many thriving black communities, same as Seneca Falls in New York, same as, I can't think the one in California, where they had their own currency. Black people had their own currency in the state of California. And so this area of Tulsa was called Greenwood, and that is where they came in, and white folks were like, we're mad, we're jealous, you guys have all this stuff, we just came back from the war, we have nothing, y'all are thriving, we're struggling. Somebody said that somebody raped some white woman, so we coming to kill all y'all, to use that as an excuse because we've been hanging on you for years. And so right now, historians are going to be excavating a cemetery in the search of the victims of the 1921 Tulsa, Oklahoma race massacre, in which an estimated of 300 black people were killed and buried in an unknown location. And so for those who do not know, a lot of us do, but we have to be honest, this shit wasn't taught in schools. Not everybody knows about this, especially black people, let alone white folks. And so in 1921, there was an estimated of 300 people, mostly black Americans, that were killed in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They were buried without funerals, and the location of the graves are still unknown. However, geophysical scan earlier this year found signs of a mass grave in Tulsa. A second excavation begins on Monday, today, at the Tulsa Cemetery in search of people killed in the massacre in efforts to identify the victims. Pause. I mean, not care about identifying. I want to know where that money coming from. I want to know, where is the United States going to pay the reparations, because people from Tulsa, Oklahoma, that were, in a sense, like, they had to leave their home, because if they didn't leave their home, they were feared to be killed like everybody else that was just murdered. The other 300 bankers, electricians, attorneys, like, we had banks. We had, hold on, Tulsa, Oklahoma businesses. They gave us the 2020 version. That is not what I meant. Tulsa, Oklahoma black businesses. Because it was like 2 airports, 20 banks, black businesses, 1921. So by 1921, Tulsa's Greenwood district was one of the wealthiest black communities in the United States and the center of black wealth. The community of roughly 10,000 residents was thriving and supported black-owned banks, restaurants, hotels, grocery stores, luxury shops, along with offices for attorneys, doctors, dentists. We had it, baby. Like, anything and everything that you need. There were two, not one, but 2 airports. Like, you can't even fathom. I don't think we can fathom it unless you've traveled to an African country. You don't know what it looks like to see everyone black. We have never been put in a position. And even down south, when I lived in Birmingham, Alabama, and I went to school my state school, what's that called? My community college. Even my community college was predominantly black. It's still like, you do not understand, and I didn't understand until I went to Ethiopia, where the president's black, the minister is black, the ministry of is black. You know, the people on the news are black, the newscasters are black, the people who own the stations are black, and it's just like all black, every damn thing. And so, as pro-black as I am, as much Afrocentric as I choose to be in on a regular basis, I still didn't get it until I went to Ethiopia. It was like, damn, it's a different type of feeling when you walk out and just see all of you everywhere, to see yourself represented in everything. And so I can't even fathom what 10,000 black thriving people look like. To me, that sounds like the tri-state area, because if you take a look at Maryland, D.C., and Virginia, there's like thriving black businesses in that area that are not akin to anywhere else in the United States. And so, long story short, as far as this news article is concerned, go ahead and click the link. All you're doing is putting your email address in, and once you put your email address in, they're gonna go ahead and send you the information once the bank is up and running. I definitely am going, because I took my money out of One United Bank. That damn bootleg stuff. So I took my money out of One United, and I am going to be banking with Greenwood. So thank you to Killer Mike. Thank you to those who are putting this together, because we definitely need it. It is for Black and Latinos, so it's not just Black people, but Latinos are Black. I wish they would accept that. It is what it is. Thousands of boys are kept in chains, tortured, and abused in Islamic schools across Sudan, with younger children being raped by older students. And this is an investigation that was recently procured. Boys as young as 5 years old are routinely shackled and beaten by teachers. There are nearly 30,000 of the religious schools across the whole of Sudan. There have been reports of older pupils raping and sexually assaulting others. And I say this because the older ones that are raping the younger ones were most likely the ones that were raped. And we know from studies that most people that sexually abuse are acting out how they were abused, regardless of age. I know age doesn't play a part. Well, Tayla, a 30-year-old is playing out what happened to them when they were 3 and through 6. But I digress. 18-month investigation by the BBC News Arabic uncovered extents of the abuse, and I want to know what's going to, that's a long ass time. That's 18 months where that you sat here and watched me examining. You watched this for 18 months. What is going on and what is taking place as far as with these results, what's happening? Further reports of rape and sexual abuse emerged during the course of the investigation. A forensic doctor who examined 3 boys that have recently escaped from another school told the BBC that boys have been repeatedly raped. Asking them, how were you raped? They said, sometimes our families visit us. They rape us just before they arrive. This is sad. I absolutely hate this. And this is why we as Americans need to be in the know of what's going on around the world so we can take action. Well, Taylor, we're struggling here in America. Well, we don't have thousands of children being raped in school. So what is it that we can do? That's a very tough question that I don't have the answer to, but I don't have the answers, and I'm not going to pretend to. Just be in the know. Put those children in your prayers, thoughts and prayers. I know it doesn't seem like much and probably isn't the best, but if that's all you can do, that's what you should do. The Chinese government hands out $1 million in free digital money to boost its ailing economy post-COVID, and they're wondering whether or not the United States could be doing the same thing. So China has been trying to digitalize its currency for the past 4 years. I don't know if you guys watch the Blacklist, Black Balls, Blackface. What's the damn show? And they had the dogs running. Where the comments at? Because y'all know everything. What's the name of the TV show where they had different scenarios of things that could happen, and it was different episodes? One was the boy who was watching kid porn, and he had to go snitch on somebody else, and they had to go snitch on somebody else. Lord have mercy, what was the name of the damn show? Black something. Well, I remember they had it your social media. So how many likes you get determined how popular you were, determined the lifestyle that you lived, and that you could climb up the social ladder. China is already that's real life China right now. Real freaking life China is your social status. And if you talk bad about the government, people report you, dislike you, and It's weird. It's like social media, but the government is watching everything. Oh, that sounds like America. Could we do this? Last week it launched a trial giving 50,000 people 200 yen each in a lottery. The money can be spent at 3,400 shops and is scanned by QR code. The country is far ahead of the UK or America when it comes to smartphone payments, but the growing number of Americans have been using smartphone payments, and there has been an uptick of scammers when it comes to Cash App. Hold on, where's this article? So there's this article about this rapper who rapped about, God, he's so stupid. He rapped about how he was scamming on, what are these payments? In lieu of payments, like you don't have any money, and so they're giving everybody a little bit of money. Damn it, what is the name of the damn unemployment? The unemployment. He is over here rapping about the damn unemployment money that he stole. And he got indicted for it. Absolutely stupid. We be snitching on ourselves all the damn time for no reason. And I can't find the damn article, so oh well. An ancient cat that was hidden for 2,200 years, a geoglyph is uncovered that is etched into the hillside at a site in Peru that was the home of the mysterious desert-dwelling civilization. Researchers have discovered a new geoglyph, which is like a hieroglyph, but like in the ground. So you remember that whole thing about crop circles, and it was like the aliens made crop circles, and they were like, no. There's a whole society of people that go out randomly into the world, make crop circles at nighttime, and then remain anonymous and let you guys think it's aliens. And so it's something similar in like structure and size, but was made 2,200 years ago. The Nazca Line's design appeared to depict a giant cat and measures 120 feet long. Archaeologists made the discovery while work was being carried out on public viewpoint of the area. And they're like, oh, wow, there's a cat. Who was I talking to? I was talking to my dad. So I have a dad and I have a daddy. So my daddy is the one that's on air all the time. My dad is the one that's married to my mom. And so I was having a conversation with my dad, and we were talking about Mexico and how Mexico in South America and Central America, like, yeah, aliens exist. We've seen them a couple times flying past here. We even are ready for them to land because we want to talk to them. And America's like, nope. Not at all. We are denying all of it. Y'all are crazy. Anybody, y'all, a sane asylum. We're calling you a conspiracy theorist. Like, what you saw is not factual. You were not taken by it. Like, we denounce it. All of it. But we were talking about, I was like, at what point? Black Mirror, Chanel Remy. Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. I love me some Chanel Remy. Thank you. Sharina, what's going on? Thank you. I think you're talking about Blacklist. Shauna, it's not Black Mirror. That's what it's called. EPP. Yo, what's EPP? Remy, tell me what that is. But I digress. Let me go back. We were talking about, I was like, yo, when is the United States actually going to admit that aliens are real? Like, every other country but us admits it. And he was like, Tayla, the same way that we admit everything else, we're going to wait until we dig in the ground and find something that says, oh, aliens have been existing for years and years and years. So we're like, oh, new study. And I thought it was hilarious because he's absolutely right. We don't recognize anything to be true until we spend millions of dollars excavating and doing studies. And it's like, we are so science heavy, which is a good thing, but it's also a pain in the ass because it's like, well, if science didn't prove it, it doesn't mean it's real. And so it's like the whole time as a black woman giving birth to black children in white hospitals, in white institutions, and dying 73% more than white women, we're telling you it's a problem, but you have to wait until 2020 to be like, oh, they're kind of dying at a really high Right. We should do something about that. Yet when we talk to you, it means nothing. So that study happened. A 2-year-old is murdered in Florida. My transitions are horrible. I'm so I'm so sorry. A murdered 2-year-old inspires a new Florida law. Florida just signed Jordan's law to prevent this happening to other children. So a Florida mother may never see the outside of a prison again after she was sentenced in a murder of her own son. The legacy will live on in an inspired by his short life. Charisse Stinson, 23, was sentenced to 50 years in prison after killing her son in 2018. Her son Jordan was 2 years old when she committed the heinous crime. After accepting a plea deal, Stinson was convicted of second-degree murder in Florida. She pled guilty to making false reports and will pay the Largo Police Department $28,000. I don't know how, because the brother's in jail. It's going to take her 50 years to pay it off the way that they pay people in jail when they do work. In 2018, Stinson said her son was abducted after she accepted a ride from a stranger. This was in national news. I don't know if you guys remember that. She claimed the person knocked her out and then ran off with Jordan. An Amber Alert was issued and almost 60-hour search took place before the boy was found in a wooded area around the Largo Sports Complex. An autopsy showed he was killed from blunt force trauma. Stinson said in a jailhouse interview last week that she was sorry about what happened to her son, who she admittedly struck in the head. I was just in a dark, hated everything place. I hated life. I hated myself. I didn't know how to love. I didn't love my son. I was so disappointed in myself because he did not deserve what happened to him. No child deserves that. One of the things that a lot of people are not talking about is postpartum depression. And so I think as a society, we completely ignore the fact that one day you have a life inside of you and you have all of these hormones supporting this life inside of you. And then your body gives birth to this child and you still have all of these hormones and your body doesn't know how to regulate itself. And so it's a high percentage, I don't have that number right now, of women that go through postpartum depression, and it does not last 2 weeks into the baby's 6 months, into the baby's 8 months. Like, there's people who have 10-year-olds that still have postpartum depression because of not being able to, not being properly treated. I want the court to know that I am not the same Charisse as when I walked in. I have done a lot of things to change, and I will continue to change. For a while, I was so angry and bitter before I came to jail, and now I'm free mentally. So when I read the story prior, and I was so angry, how could you kill your 2-year-old? Baby Rain get on my last damn nerves, but I cannot imagine life without mom, with his deep-ass baby voice. And then I kept reading, and she talks about mental. And though this is a sad story, I think we are negligent to the facts. And the facts are, at 23 years old, that baby was still a baby, first and foremost. She was not even an adult. You're not even an adult until you're 25. And then at 25, I was still a freaking idiot. And so at 35, at 37, I still have a lot to learn. But at 23, she was still a baby. If we're honest about our society and our families, we don't have the best support when it comes to that village that we used to have once upon a time before all of our families were completely dismantled. And then you put on top of that the postpartum. I really think, if anything, she needed to go to a mental institution and not to jail. And that's honestly a lot of people that are currently in prison don't need to be in prison, but need to be in a mental institution. And even if it's for bipolar or whatever have you, we just, as a society, need to do a better job. So in June, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed Jordan's law in recognition of the boy. Child Welfare Services say that they missed several signs that could have saved Jordan's life. According to reports, the law will reduce caseloads and streamline communication between parents, law enforcement, and caseworkers to better identify when a child is in danger. And so this is amazing. I love and pray that Jordan's law prevents others from having this situation, but the state recognized that they dropped the ball. And this Jordan's law is a way for them to pick it up. Is it going to save all of the children? Probably not, but a child's life will be saved by being able to, like, in Massachusetts is the worst for it. They'll take a kid away from a family quick with no evidence. And so as much as I may dislike it, I do understand it and I appreciate it. And I can't tell you how many times, Lord have mercy. Florida is weird because my cousin lived in Florida really quick. When she lived in Florida, she is Cape Verdean American, Black American. She don't play no games. She whooped her kid's ass. Like, she wasn't abusing them, but if you ain't doing what you supposed to do, you out here running away. I find you smoking cigarette weed with your friends. You doing hood rat things with your friend. Like, yeah, she knocked them kids the hell out and had DSS in her business every single time. The kids would go to school and DSS would call. It was just like, my mom hit me. And then they were like, why'd you hit her? Like, every time. I remember she told me, she was like, Tayla, I found him in the bed with the girl and I couldn't do nothing because the police were going to come out. The neighbor's going to snitch. Like, Florida is really weird on so many levels about everything. In other news, a Black man graduated with his PhD after being expelled from 10 schools. So in the pursuit of higher education, of course it looks different for everyone, with so many barriers standing in the way of obtaining a college degree for marginalized group. One man was able to beat all of the odds, and this is why you can't give no excuses. I am not the excuse person. Do not give me excuses. I need results every time. One man was able to beat all of the odds from his upbringing and is now celebrating earning his PhD. As a child, Dr. Tommy Mabry was expelled from 10 different schools, all before entering high school. Fast forward to December of 2019, he was able to celebrate a huge milestone, finally obtaining his PhD after the difficult journey of pursuing his education. My mom and dad have all the books in their house. They're proud and have come to all of my graduations. Hopefully, if God says the same, they will be here at my PhD graduation in December. My mom said she didn't think that I would make it, and now here I am, the only doctor she knows. I love this story, and I think it's something that needs to be shared. You can find him on social media on Instagram as Tommy, Tommie Mabry. He said, excuse the tears in this video, but today is the best days ever. Allow me to reintroduce myself. I am Dr. Tommy Mabry. I did it. My story, 1994 to 99. Kicked out of 7 elementary schools. 1999, arrested for breaking and entering at 11 years old. 1999 to 2003, started getting tattoos, eventually covering my entire body. 2001 to 2002, receiving permanent gold teeth at the age of 13. 1999 to 2003, kicked out of 3 middle schools. 2003, repeated the 8th grade. 2007, gunshot wound while skipping school, 12th grade. 2007, first high school graduate in my family. 2007, received a full college basketball scholarship. 2011, elected Mr. Tougaloo at Tougaloo College. That's a historically Black college university in Mississippi, Tougaloo. James Lowens, I believe, teaches at that school, who wrote the history my teachers didn't teach me. I believe that is Tougaloo is in Mississippi. I digress. I'm sorry. 2011, received a BA in education. 2011, became an educator in the same school district I attended growing up. 2013, City of Jackson appointed me by the mayor to lead a department. 2013, published A Dark Journey into a Light Future. 2015, published If Tommy Can Do It, We Can Do It Too. 2015, founded Tommy Mabry Company. 2017, launched Little Tommy cartoon mascot. 2017, received a master's in child development. 2019, Tommy 4Bs published a book called Tommy's 4Bs. In 2020, PhD, Jackson State University. Yo, let me reintroduce myself. So it's, again, TOMMIEMABRY. And so these are stories that make my heart flutter, because at 11 years old, mind you, in third grade, prisons are all based on who these MCAS and these tests and whether or not you can read and how well you're doing in science and math. All of these tests are nothing more but to figure out if we need to invest in more schools or if we need to invest to send your ass to jail. And so he is absolutely a statistic that we were wrong about. He was a statistic that we were wrong about, because he was able to pick himself up by the bootstraps and do something completely different with his life. And so I love it. And those are the stories that need to be shared, the stories that we need to talk about, the stories that need to be like uplifted and exalted. And there it is. Black newborns are safest in the hands of Black doctors, finds, go on and say it, a new study. We already know this to be true. The United States has the highest rate of infant death in a developing world, with the rate being even higher if you are a Black mother. According to CDC, Black mothers are almost 4 times more likely to die during childbirth. Now, a new study shows that Black newborns are the safest when they are in the hands of Black doctors over their white counterparts. The new findings show that there is a 58% reduction in the racial mortality between newborns that are cared by Black doctors versus newborns that are cared by white doctors. In the United States, newborns die at 3 times the rate of white newborns. The results examining 1.8 million hospital births in the state of Florida between 1992 and 2015 suggest that newborn physical racial concordance is associated with a significant improvement in the mortality for Black infants if they have a Black doctor. And so, again, the study said, so that's the only way that we actually believe it. Ludacris brings an animated series, Karma's World, to Netflix, and so I am so excited about this. She is so cute with her little afro kinks and coils. Rapper-actor Chris Ludacris Bridges is throwing his hat into the animated series game. Netflix has announced that Ludacris, 9-Story Media Group, and Karma's World Entertainment will be producing a new CG animated series called Karma's World. The series was created by the multi-award-winning American rapper, actor, producer, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. There it is. Ludacris. The storyline for Karma's World follows a 10-year-old Karma Grant, who is an aspiring musical artist and a rapper. She is smart, resilient, deeply emphatic, who puts her all into her songwriting. While she is pursuing her dreams, she is starting to understand the emotional power that words and music can have. I have had a lot of accomplishments in my life, but everything that I have experienced seemed to lead me up to this point where I have a legacy for my granddaughters, said Ludacris in a written statement. Karma's World is one of those legacies. I hope this series will show kids that there are many ways to overcome difficult situations. The show is going to move hip-hop culture forward and show young girls that they have the power to change the world. This project has been a long time in the making, and I can't wait to bring Karma's World to the entire world. Shout out to Ludacris. Again, the stories that I love, the stories that need to be uplifted and discussed, because they give us hope and give us help us believe that we definitely have something to look forward to. And so I'm super excited about that. What I'm not excited about is the fact that Chadwick Boseman's is the long list of nearly 70% of African Americans who have no will or estate plan in place. And so when I tell you, so right now I have 2 wills. I have a poor man's will, which means if anything and everything fails, I have a document that says what a Nari gets, what a Saria gets, what Rain gets, where I want, how I want to be buried, how, like, everything that I want on my deathbed, there is a letter for that. And it is stamped and mailed and somewhere at my mother's house. Now that I think about it, I might have to do that again. Because it ain't probably in the trash. Yo, I'm going to have to do my poor man's one again. But I do have a will that I did with the credit company that I worked with. And so there's a lot. And I did like an actual legal will for free with the credit company that I work with. And so if that's something that interests you, just hit me up on Tayla Made Credit Repair Easy at gmail.com or TaylaMadeMedia@gmail.com. Whatever is easiest for you, just hit me up and I'll go ahead and send that to you. But 70% of African Americans have no will or estate plan in place. And for Chadwick Boseman to be as rich AF as he was and to have no will, he's not the only one though. Like who was the other actor that died? Prince's ass didn't have no damn will. Michael Jackson didn't have as far as like their music was concerned, that's why Michael Jackson and Prince's stuff was just taken up real quick. No proper planning in place. How you have all this damn money and no one in your corner saying, hey, yo, no one's at your table, no one's in your group. You got all of these yes men. There's nobody to be like, nah, man, you need to sit down and do a will. So please, take yourself, even if you just do a poor man's will, and it has to be unsealed. It has to be an unsealed document, or if you want to do it a step up from a poor man's will, to go get it notarized. So you sit here and you write everything out, what you want. I don't have no money. I don't have no jewelry. I don't have no clothes, but I want to make sure that my kids go to their godmother or my kids are not sent to the state. Because if you leave your kids without a will, your children become ward of the state. And then your family has to fight for them. And so Chadwick Boseman's wife files a probate case. Like, that's so embarrassing. A probate case after the actor passes away without a will. Not having a will in place before succumbing to a 4-year battle with colon cancer is sparking renewed conversations about the importance of estate planning. I don't care if you don't own a house. I don't care if you don't even own a car. I don't care if you don't have one piece of jewelry or even a throwback Adidas tracksuit. It does not matter. If you have children, if you have a damn dog that you care about, whatever happens to the dog after you die, you need a will. And so there's ways that you can do it the poor man's way. So the poor man's way is you write out everything that you want, who's going to get your kids, who's going to get the money, who's going to pay these bills after you die. And you go ahead and you mail it to yourself. You put a stamp on it, self-addressed stamp envelope, throw it in the mail. It comes back to you. It has the stamp of the United States Post Office, and you file it away just in case I die. Make sure that the people who are the closest to you know where it is located so they can pull that out if anything happens to you. You take a step up and you're like, Tayla, well, I want to do it kind of correctly. So go ahead and write everything out. Whatever it is that you have, you don't have, you write that out, and then you go and get it notarized. And then after you notarize it, you still put it in an envelope and keep it safe or give it to somebody the closest to you that is going to be handling your affairs after you die. The best way to do it is for you to go ahead and get an attorney to prepare a will for you. It does not matter if you don't own a home. It doesn't matter if you don't have all of this property. You don't have an estate. Tayla, what am I actually doing? You are making sure that your children are going to their father. You're making sure your children go to your stepmother, like whoever it is you want them kids to go to. Do not make your family sit here and fight for the little bit that you do have. Don't make your family fight for the $35 in the bank account because they have to pay all this money to even get the $35 because they don't know how much money you got in the bank. But in order to get access of your bank, they got to do all of this fighting. Instead of eliminate all of that and get your life prepared. Heartwarming footage shows twin panda cubs and their best friend in China. The reason why I pulled this story up is because, first of all, I love animals. I don't do pets. I don't like pets, but I love animals. And a lot of people don't know, and I wanted to share this tidbit of information with you. Pandas are only owned by China. Like China damn near wants to own the world, but China owns pandas. You will never find a panda outside of China that is not being leased. Don't believe me? Do your own due diligence. Look it up. Panda bears are owned, trademarked, registered by China. If you find any panda bears outside of China, they are being leased for an astronomical number. But they are the cutest little things, and I love pandas. They look like little teddy bears. I want one. Como threatens to withhold eventual COVID-19 vaccines from New York until his own doctors deem it safe because he does not trust Trump administration. Yo, this is so funny. Like, I love the governor of New York. He's such a New Yorker. And if you don't know, if you've never come across a New Yorker, like, New Yorkers are the most ignorant folks on earth. They have no feelings. They bump into you. There's no sorry. There's no hello. There's no goodbye. It's like, I'm about my business. You're about your business. I'm minding my business and keeping it moving. And so it's a swag about New Yorkers that you have to like know a New Yorker to understand what I'm saying. And so Como threatens, like, I'm not doing it. Andrew Cuomo said on Monday that he will only distribute a vaccine once his own task force. Hey, yo, where Baker? Where Baker at? Baker, you and Trump, you on the same page? He was like, I did not vote for Trump, and I am not voting for Trump. Hold on, but I thought you endorsed him. In a lengthy state document laying out New York's vaccine distribution plan, he says that they'll advise on legal authority to withhold the vaccine. It raises serious questions about how New Yorkers who do trust the Trump administration will gain access to the vaccine. Dr. Fauci, the head of the CDC, has predicted that the U.S. will have enough doses of the vaccine in April. In New York, Cuomo will give the first to the elderly and sick, frontline workers, healthcare workers, and then to everyone else. His task force of 7 doctors includes some who are academics and some who are practicing physicians. There are still many unanswered questions about the vaccine distribution and how the state and federal government will work together when a lot of these states don't even like the president and don't want to work with him. So we shall see. Cold water swimming may help defend from dementia, stimulating latent hibernating protein. So there's white people that go swimming in the ocean like every year in the middle of winter, and it's fun for them. I was in New Hampshire with a coat and a sweater and a vest and a scarf, and I was freezing. And and I actually thought about this yesterday, like, how do people go swimming in this? But when you are cold, there is something inside of you that's like, let's go. Like, it wakes you the hell up. And so there have been many a times that I would purposely go outside bucky naked in the cold to do that whole like wake up thing. So Anari actually taught me this because, you know, my son's a bigger nerd than I am and actually smarter than me on all levels of life. But Anari was like, Mom, did you know that you could teach your body how to lower its temperature? And I was like, how? He was like, there's a whole study on it. Going back to studies. I was just like, tell me about it. And so long story short, Anari told me, I'm horrible. Today's Monday. He has a half day, right? Because I forgot it. But I do remember, like, he told me that, oh, that means he's in class if it goes straight to voicemail. Or he just has me on D&D. Yeah, he's in class. But what he told me was if you continuously go outside without a coat, and your body then learns and adapts. So long story short, your body is adaptable. And our bodies are absolutely amazing because they can do things that we mentally can't even conjure our bodies doing. And so Anari has been able to lower his body temperature since he told me this about the study like 8 months ago. And no, maybe about a year ago because it was pre-COVID. And now he sleeps with his windows all the way open, even no matter how cold it is. He sleeps without a damn blanket. He sleeps with a sheet because if you're able to lower your body temperature, when you get cold, your body is rapidly moving and it helps you lose weight and keeps you slim and cut. And that's why this Negro wanted to lower his body temperature so his body would work more so he could get all of these cut. Like, Anari want to be a damn supermodel. He want his shirt off, everything. My baby. What's going on, The Truth? Welcome back. Good rising. I am Tayla Andre, waking up with Tayla. Oh, we got 10 minutes from Motivational Monday. I am Tayla Andre. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up at about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. I want to play a song for you. There was another story that I wanted to read to you, but I guess I can save it for tomorrow. We'll just play music, and when we come back, it's Motivational Monday. I am Tayla Andre, everything Tayla Andre, TaylaAndre. Make sure you download the Spark FM online app. For the first 3 people who send me the screenshot of them downloading the Spark FM app, I will send you the digital copy of Finally Home, so you can get the physical copy. I had 3 different people download the app and send it to me and wanted to get all free hoodies. So I was just like, you know what? I'm putting my foot down. Y'all gonna get the book and you're gonna learn about your credit, clean your credit, and get ready to buy this house. Because that's what we need to be doing. As far as like what's the state of Black America right now. We working on home buying, baby. Hustling and motivating.
Pull up in motorcades. I got a show today. It's all I'm trying to do. Hustle and motivate. Choppers a throwaway. Hustle the overweight. That's why they follow me, huh? They think I know the way. Cause I took control of things. Born the solo way. And if you pattern my trend, I make you my protege. Crossing that soldier race. Don't know them days. Take you in back of the buildings. Make you expose your rage. Take you across the tracks. Make you explode the face. Now you official now. But you got a soul to save. I just been cooking that new. I'm about to drop in a few. Think if I call it the great, the people gon' call it the truth. I ain't really trip on the credit. I just paid all of my dues. I just respected the game. Now my name all in the news. Tripping on all of my moves. Quote me on this, got a lot more to prove. Remember I came in this fresh out the county with nothing to lose. Don't do this for nothing. No. Wanna count on you. But I don't do this for nothing. No, not at all. You. But my money ring, that you do. So I don't do this for nothing. No, not at all. Oh. I told her I got 99. Oh, yeah, sorry. So I don't do this for nothing. Not at all. Wanna burn up. I still motivated. Back in this like I never left. Stand for some shit that you never read. Passing through stages in life, through the ups and the downs, like it's all just another test. Live by the rules like a breath. I got respect in 100 sets. Too many chains need another chest. Playing no games if it wasn't chess. Come from that cloth that you couldn't stretch. Come from that circle you couldn't test. Heavily pressured and under stress, even though the nigga ain't show up, we was a mess. Honest attempt playing to the left. Judge a young by their dress. Left us no option, what they expect. Only thing we knew for sure is the bang is set. Living basic, I'm taking risks. What they saying, I'm saying this. Don't waste your time, it don't make you rich, it don't mean nothing, so let's make a grip. Double up, triple up, make assists. Ballin' so hard you can play your lead to the lake if they wanna fish. Make sure them around you stick to the script. Be written in stone, you should come visit my zone. Don't take my word, double check all of my flows. Ask them how hustle got on, but what's what you heard? This for who walked down that road, sold everything but they sold. curb. Real rich as you nerds. Address to whom it may concern. Don't do this for nothing. No. Don't count on you. But I don't do this for nothing. No, no. Not at all. You. But my money real, money real. That you do. Oh, you know. So I don't do this for nothing. No. Not at all. Oh. I told her I
and motivate, hustle and motivate. Listen, I was asked a question yesterday, and I have actually been thinking about this question since yesterday. And the question was, how many people do we, the Black community, actually look up to? Not like who who are doing things, but who do we look up to and revere as leaders in the Black community that did not, like actual hustlers that hustled something other than drugs? That was really difficult for me to think about. And the only person that I can think possibly that is actually like loved, respected, and that did it the legal way is Cardi, because stripping is legal. It's not, the most ethical, but it is legal. How many people in the Black community do we look up to, do we revere as leaders that did not sell some sort of drug? Leadership, hustlers that did not hustle drugs. It's a really good question. Good rising, good rising. Hey, Woody, what's going on? How you doing? Just something to think about. Since we have 3 minutes, I want to read this, what's the name? So Zap Life is the new Black-owned live stream app transforming virtual parties. While 2020 has been marked by social distancing and isolation, it has been booming for everything digital. And we have spent so much freaking time on Zoom, and I hate it. My sister's fiance posted earlier today. He was just like, yo, we went to a society like, get off your phone, get off the computer, stop watching TV, stop playing video games, to all of a sudden wake up and get on the damn Zoom call for class. Like, it's weird where we are right now. But we at Zap Life are pulling up a seat to the table of an industry that has created tremendous wealth within the last decade and has been concentrated among the demographic of white and Asian males. The tech industry has failed to move the needle on diversity in the workforce. We have taken a massive action to bring these ideas into fruition and will officially launch on Halloween weekend. The creators of Zap Life opened up about the new app and talked a little bit about what it is and, how dope it is. And so I'm really super excited about how Black Americans are out here doing a damn thing. And we are, without question, some of the most amazing beings on this planet. Hold on, let me share this because it's like an interview style about the app. And so you guys can read this on your own as I post it now. One more minute. Okay, so before we get into Motivational Monday, meet the sister duo who built $1 million hair care line that is disrupting the industry. And so it's not just them, baby. Do you know that although Black shoppers contributed $473 million to the $4.2 trillion hair care industry? Let me give you those numbers again, baby. $473 million to the $4.2 trillion hair care beauty industry. That's a lot of money for 1 year, $4.2 trillion? Hey, yo, I'm in the wrong business, B. I'm out here trying to sell houses. I need to sell conditioner. $4.2 trillion. So there are, and this is one of the things that I love about going down south and when you're like surrounded around Black people. First and foremost, you don't have a little section in Walgreens. You don't have a little section at Walmart. You have 3 aisles of Black hair care products. Here in Massachusetts, specifically in Boston, we have a high concentration of Black people. And so when you take a look at our Target, because we don't have Walmart in the city of Boston, you take a look at our Target, and now we have half an aisle. So we have, when you go to Target and you walk down, it's like the 8th aisle on the right, and on the left-hand side of the aisle, we occupy almost the whole aisle. But when you go to Atlanta, it's like 4 different aisles of Black beauty everything. And so we are dope in all that we do. I love Black people. I love Black folks. I love the color Black. No, but we are definitely not just the sisters who in the last 2 years have been able to create their hair care system. Is $125. They don't pay us. We're not going to talk about it for real, but I do want to talk about the industry that we are giving we're giving millions of dollars to like Asians and whites. And shout out to Professor Devin Robinson out of Atlanta, who we've spoken to before and will be having back on the show within the next 3 weeks, about opening Black beauty supply stores. So a Black beauty supply store owned by Black people, ran by Black people, and not owned by Asians, kind of sort of managed by Black people to answer any of your questions. And so it is 12 o'clock and it is Motivational Monday. And so let us begin, because I need you to get motivated. I need you to do what you need to do in order to complete what your soul needs you to complete.
All of us go through times in life that are hard to bear, that are difficult. Sometimes bring you to your knees, that sometimes keep you up at night, sometimes gives you indigestion, sometimes affects your emotional well-being, your mental well-being, and even affects your spiritual well-being. In fact, worry is such a powerful thing, it can actually ultimately affect your physical well-being. So what's going on in your head will affect what's going on in your body. And you need to understand that the worry is more lethal than what you're worrying about. You're worrying about something that often can be fixed, but while you're worrying about it, it's doing all kind of damage to you. And the difficult thing about being worried, especially when you're a spiritual person, is sometimes you don't even want anybody to know that you're worried about it. You feel obligated to maintain this facade that suggests that nothing bothers you, nothing gets to you. You turn it all over to the Lord in prayer, and all of that's wonderful, all of that's good. But if you live long enough, you will go through some things that will try your heart, that will bother you. You'll find yourself in situations of being overwhelmed. And often at the moments that you feel overwhelmed, there's little to nobody to turn to, and you find yourself feeling really, really frustrated. Sometimes stress and emotional disorders are silent killers. You don't even realize how bad it is. It's traumatic for your lifestyle. It disrupts everything going on in your life. It's traumatic emotionally because you have a certain amount of fear. You don't want to lose them. You're trying to walk in faith, and then you're criticizing yourself when you're not walking in faith, and you start going over and over and over and over again in your mind.
Stop doing the things that...
So let's stop there, right? Self-talk, negative self-talk, any form of self-talk where you are having conversations with yourself and your inside voice is not... They have, going back to studies, they have found in studies that self-talk can lead to health, either like coming out of health problems or leading into health problems. So your self-talking, the way that you, not just self-talk, but the things that you think, and that's your self-talk, the things that you think, these conversations that you're having with yourself in your head, not outside sharing with anybody, but sometimes when you take a look at the language that you're using, the conversations that you're having in your head are then transmitted to the conversations that you're having with people. And so many times we have these self-talks where we are berating ourselves and so disgusted towards ourselves. We wouldn't have these conversations or say these things to our children. We wouldn't say these things to a complete stranger, but yet we think it's okay to say these things to ourselves. And so there's a book that I'm currently reading, and in this book, the things you say when you speak to yourself. So hold on, pause, because you guys know I'm an audiobook person. So let me be clear. I am not reading the book. I am listening to the book. But Dr. Shad Helmstetter is an amazing individual who I really would like to introduce you to. We don't have him in the building. Trust me, I already reached out to try and get him in the building, but I do want to share with you Dr. Helmstetter's how self-talk works and why it's important to be mindful of the way that you talk to yourself and the language that you use when speaking about yourself to others. And so without any further ado, the recording of Dr. Shad Helmstetter, and then we're going to talk commentary between it.
From the moment you were born, every single message you got, everything that was said to you, everything you heard, everything you saw, everything you did, everything you thought about, every message you got was typed into your personal computer keyboard. That would be our five senses. And then those messages typed into your computer keyboard were recorded on your CD-ROM in your brain. So very much like a computer, every message that you got while you were growing up gets recorded and stored permanently in the brain. The reason that's important to know is that part of the brain that recorded all of those messages you got, that part of the brain didn't know the difference between, and doesn't know the difference between something that is true or false or right or wrong or positive or negative. Its job is simply to record all of those messages that we got from other people, and then we began to repeat those exact same kinds of messages to ourselves, and that's called self-talk. There's something called the law of repetition, and the law of repetition is the secret to the secret of self-talk, and here's how it works. Every time you get a message and it's recorded again, it gets stronger. And then you get the message again, and it gets stronger still. So that those minor pathways in our brain that are being created by us getting different messages from the people around us, when those messages get repeated by someone else, and then to ourselves with our own self-talk, those pathways become roadways, and then the roadways become highways, and some of those highways become interstate highways, and those are the major programs that govern our lives. So whatever programs you have right now, that's who you are. That's who you've become. It's not that you were born that way. You were born with unlimited potential, but we become the programs that we get most. We all got programmed. I got programs. I remember one that I'll never forget that affected my entire life. It was my programs about weight. I used to weigh a great deal. And I tried every possible diet, and I said all of the wrong things to myself. And I thought this weight problem would never go away. I would try another diet. I actually got really good at dieting. But then the weight would always come back, and of course it would always bring its friends, and so I would fail at another diet. Well, at that time I was studying this thing called self-talk, and how Eastern European athletes who were competing in the Olympics had full-time self-talk trainers who were literally giving them new messages about themselves and how they can win. And
Hold on. Hold on. Because I don't think you guys caught the message, though. So I'm trying to give it to you from the source because, you know, it's telephone. I be giving you my own rendition and my own understanding of what was just said. But Olympic athletes in Europe are giving self-talk coaches, not trainers, not somebody who's going to pound their flesh, but somebody who is pounding their thoughts with new ideologies, with these new belief systems, with this like retraining your mind. How many times this is straight West Indians. How many West Indian parents do you have telling you, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you are not good enough for this, this is not what we do, this isn't how we do these things. Like, just for a second, think about the self-talk that you was taught at a young age and how you hear your mother's voice, you hear your grandmother's voice, you hear your father's voice, all the Tati's voices. Like, you hear everybody's voices in your head telling you about this thing that you can't do because that's not how we do things and that's not how you should do things and that's not going to bring you the money that you want. But even though it brings you, like, how many times do we talk to ourselves about these things that we truly want to do and then talk ourselves out of it? Because the way we were taught as a child. And so for Olympic athletes not to have personal trainers, 24-hour personal trainers to pound and train their flesh, but trainers to train their mind. Like, for me, it's remarkable for me. I personally, like what we're listening to now, Dr. Shad Helmstead is The Story of Self-Talk. Like, between him and between YouTube University of retraining my mind, I go to sleep to, I'm going to play it for you. I'm going to play it for you later. But personal trainers, baby, for your mind.
What a winning, capable person they were. And I thought, if Olympic athletes can have full-time self-talk trainers to literally help them win gold medals, then what about the Olympics of weight loss, which was my problem? So I spent months writing brand new self-talk and then had it recorded professionally in a recording studio. And I will never forget the day that I first got those new programs home, those self-talk cassettes. They were on cassettes in those days. And the first day I listened to them, I decided to listen, play self-talk in the background. The sessions are only about 10 to 12 minutes in length. But I decided to play them while I was shaving each morning. And so that's what I did. Every morning I would shave and play the self-talk. Shave, play the self-talk. The next morning, shave and play the self-talk. And what happened was, during the next 10 and a half weeks, I lost 38 pounds shaving and playing self-talk in the background. And this time I wasn't on a diet. What was especially interesting to me was that during the same 10 and a half weeks that I had been shaving every morning and losing the 38 pounds, during the same 10 and a half weeks, my wife, who was putting on her makeup at the other end of the same mirror each morning, lost 25 pounds eavesdropping on my self-talk. That was a number of years ago.
25 pounds. She lost 25 pounds by ear hustling. It wasn't even for her. 25 pounds from ear hustling. I'm sorry. Keep listening.
As a matter of fact, that was over 20 years ago. I've never been on a diet since. I never will be. And it was self-talk. I changed the problem. I changed the programs that had caused the problem in the first place. And since that time, because of that, I have written literally hundreds of self-talk programs on every possible subject, and that's why, as I've said, there are thousands of people listening to self-talk all over the world every day. My favorite of all of the programs I've written is certainly the Lifetime Library, and that's because it's a library of self-talk. It has self-talk for every possible circumstance in life. And then, of course, there is self-talk for weight loss, which I know what happened to me and how well it worked for me. I've seen that happen now for a lot of many other people since that time. There are also outstanding self-talk programs for people in business, people who want to reach goals. And there are great self-talk programs for kids. I happen to personally believe that there is no home that should be without self-talk, the right kind of self-talk for children. The reason so many people are listening to self-talk is because the law of repetition works. By changing their programs, they're changing their self-talk. By changing their self-talk, they're changing their futures. And by changing their futures, they're changing their lives.
Listen. So I just want us to win. If you're watching this right now, I just want you to win. I want all of us to win. When I go to bed at night, this is what I play. I play this over and over again. Oh, y'all can't hear it. Oops, my bad. So hold on. Because I want you guys to hear this. Let me turn it up for you.
I am are two of the most powerful words in the human language. It doesn't matter the dialect or culture. Whatever you put behind these words becomes your reality. I am. I am healthy. I am wealthy.
And I am
And I am
wise.
wise. I am brilliant. I am magnificent. I am genius. I am exuberant. I am happy. I am cheerful. I am joyful. I am overjoyed. I am strong. I am powerful. I am tenacious. I am successful. I am fortunate. I am expansion.
It is a whole hour. It is an entire hour. I listen to that on replay at night. I have an entire playlist, nighttime playlist that I play that is 528 megahertz. And so Dr. Horowitz is from here, Massachusetts. He's from, I think, Salem, Mass. And I am attempting everything to get him back on air. The first time I ever interviewed him is when I was like trying to figure out technology solo doing podcasts, and the recording is an epic fail, but the information is without a doubt absolutely amazing. And he talks about how the 528 frequency is the frequency of God, is the frequency that we should aspire to be attuned to. And so I am going to continue working on that and bringing him in studio virtually. But until that happens, I just need you to know how important it is for me, for you to just change your mind. And knowing that you can change your mind. And Elijah, Papi, you can hear mommy? Can you hear me now? No, I wanted you to tell the people them about that thing. You told me about lowering your, what is that? Not your blood pressure. Lowering your heart, no. Lowering your body temperature. And you remember you told me about the cold thing? No, you don't remember? You do remember? I don't know. I can't hear you. And if I can't hear you, they can't hear you either. So we'll try again another day. But I want you to be 125% better than what you are today. And in order to do that, you have to retrain your mind. And you have to change your self-talk. And so many times, people don't know what self-talk is. So let's start there. Let's rewind to the beginning. What is self-talk? So Your brain's job is to keep you safe. Because of this, it will always choose what's familiar and what's comfortable over working towards a change that is different, even if that change is in your best interest for your health and your happiness. What's familiar is safe, and what's unknown is the potential to hurt you, at least from your brain's point of view. So it's automatically creating negative thoughts or these negative self-talks. And so you keep, tucking it in and allowing it to be comfortable. And examples of self-talk are like different scenarios where you're thinking about taking order, like you're ordering takeout and you're like, should I get a large? Should I get an extra large? Is it going to be nasty? Like, this is just something tiny. Is it going to be, should I even order from here? I remember one time I had an experience like 15 years ago. I didn't too much like it. So what if I'm wasting my money? Like, stuff like that is a whole scenario, baby. Other examples of self-talk is like, I'm always out of shape. And listen, I claim this every time. I'm like, I'm a fat girl. I'm fat. You guys know I love food. I'm fat. Like, I claim it every single time. I'm too lazy. But like, and I'm giving examples of my personal self-talk. If the sun is not shining, I cannot operate. And I wonder how many, what is it? Like, does the rooster crow because the sun is up, or does the sun come up because the rooster crows? So it's very similar for me. Is like, am I fat because I keep saying I'm fat, or do I not operate when the sun's not out because the sun's not out, so my body can't operate? Or have I taught myself that I can't operate if the sun's not out? Why do I even bother? I don't have enough time. I'm really bad with time. Oh my gosh. But even claiming it, like, Christians, I rebuke that. So when Christians say I rebuke that, like, I'm not claiming that. I'm not like, I'm not signing up for that class. I'm good. That's like your body rejecting these things that are being said. When I was little, I remember we used to be like, oh, God forbid. God forbid. Oh, that's why you're going to trip and fall. Well, God forbid. It was like a protector, like, nah, I don't believe that. I'm not buying into that. God forbid that. Like, nah, I rebuke it. And I have forever been claiming, like, I grew up on a farm. I know, hi, Daddy, I am affirmations. So growing up on a farm, I know like sunrise and sunset. I know when it's time to go outside and play, and then when it's time to come in the house. But aside from that, I am unaware of time. I'm completely unaware of how to utilize time. I'm really bad on time. Am I really bad on time because I say I'm really bad on time, or am I really bad on time because it's in my nature? These are the things that you have to think about. Are you like forever cheating on your wife because you say it's in your genes? Like, oh, my daddy cheated on my mother. It's in my genes for me to cheat on my wife. Or do you do you give yourself that mental space to do this thing because you've conditioned yourself through the repetition, which is the mother of all learning? Nothing ever goes right for me. No one ever loves me. No one, like, think about this. I never get good grades. I'm always getting into car accidents. When will I learn? This is all my fault. I always mess things up. I should have known I wasn't going to get the job. I'm never good in, like, these are the things that we're always saying to ourselves on a regular basis. And we're not listening to the self-talk of the
Charming. I am charismatic. I am a pleasure to be around. I am infinite wisdom.
Yo, when's the last time you told yourself I am infinite wisdom? Huh? When's the last time? And I've been doing this for years. If you take a look at my Instagram, I am Tayla Andre. Oh, like, I am. Hashtag I am. Because I know who I am. I know what it is that I came here for. I know what my purpose is. Sometimes I don't think I know what my purpose is. I'd be like, I don't know what my purpose is. I ain't good at nothing. I haven't mastered nothing, but I'm good at everything. Like, these are the type of self-talks. So when you're dating somebody and your self-talk, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough for this person. I don't deserve this individual. I'm not worthy. How many times do you, with jobs, time doesn't exist? The truth. I see you. We here, right? The rest of society's not. So for the sake of being a conspiracy theorist, we're not even going to talk about that right now. We're not going to talk about how the devil changed the whole time, and that's why Sunday is the first day of the week and not Saturday, because Sabado, we're not going to talk about that though, right? But we're on the same page. You see me? I see you. You see me? So... And if you caught it, you caught it. If it went over your head, it's just it's levels, baby. There's levels to this. And I'm trying to meet everybody where they at, but apparently the truth is on another level that not everyone is on. How many times have you self-sabotaged? How many times have you self-sabotaged? Come on, let's be transparent. Let's be real. You don't have to say it out loud. But I want you to say it to your head. I want you to self-talk. That's what I want you to do. I want you to self-talk yourself into all of the times that you spoke negatively about yourself, all of the times you spoke negatively about your children, about your relationships with others, about your job, about your passions. How many times you self-talked yourself out of doing some amazing things because you were scared that you weren't going to succeed, that you weren't going to be the best, that you talked yourself out of doing the things that you could have done. And did you or did you not wish that you did not self-talk yourself out of it?
Creator, I am a part of God. I am connected to the source. I am infinite. I am boundless. I am immeasurable. I am wonderful. I am impressive. I am magnificent.
When's the last time you told yourself you were magnificent? I am magnificent. You remember, what was the movie? My girl was like, you are special. You are kind. You are beautiful. Those are the things that we need to say to our children. How often do we say these things to our children? Do we say these things to ourselves? Just because you give these affirmations to your children. And where's my girl? I love my friends. I love my hair. I love my haircuts. Jessica, those affirmations, talking to yourself every day. I feel like this self-talk conversation needs to happen at least once a day. You need to... How do you do it? Well, Tayla, how do I do it? I want to stop self-talking. I do, criticize and blame and, the inner dialogue that I have is limiting myself. I know that I'm limiting myself. I know that I could be bigger and further and do different things, but it's my limiting self-beliefs that I have that are keeping me there. Consequences of negative self-talk can affect us in some pretty damaging ways. One large-scale study found that the self-blame over and over again with negative events were linked to an increase of mental health problems. Focusing on negative thoughts may lead to a decreased motivation as well as greater feelings of helplessness. The type of critical inner dialogue that has been linked to depression is definitely something to fix. Those who find themselves frequently engaging in negative self-talk tend to be more stressed out. This is large in part to do with the fact that their reality is altered to create an experience where they don't have the ability to reach their goals that they set for themselves. Negative self-talk can lead to lowering the ability to see opportunities as well as decreased tendencies to capitalize on these opportunities. This means that the heightened sense of stress comes from both the perception and the changes in behavior that come from it. Other consequences of negative self-talk can include limited thinking. The more you tell yourself you can't do something, the more you believe that you can't do it. Whether that's school, whether that's relationship, whether that's goals, whether that's dreams, whether that's writing a book, whether that's starting a course, whatever it is, the losing of the weight. So transparency. I am in the process of self-talk. And so while I am listening to,
I am intrepid. I am educated. I am prudent.
I have changed that to my nighttime listen to now listening to I don't what does it say? Because I listen to it at night, and you know when you wake up to toss and turn in the middle of the night and you can hear your surroundings, and so I find myself waking up to I don't eat past when I know my belly is full. It's probably not the way that it said it. That's my own translation. That's why I would be playing it for you. Because I be giving out my own rendition. But like, I don't eat more than after I'm full. I don't eat to taste. I eat for nourishment. I don't indulge in sugars and sweets. And if you know me, oh my gosh, if I stop eating cookies and cake and cookies, edibles of cookies and cakes. Like, listen, to thy own self be true. I have a sugar problem. I'm addicted to sugar. They did a study, going back to studies, they did a study that said that cocaine and sugar are hand in hand. When you think you are not addicted to something, you are addicted to sugar, my love. Cocaine is as addictive as sugar. Sugar is as addictive of cocaine. And what they did actually was the high fructose corn syrup. So when you take a look at your Sour Patch Kids, you take a look at freaking your juices, anything juice. If you look at the back of the label and it says high fructose corn syrup, that is what was the name of the movie, the TV show that was on Netflix with Robert De Niro killing all the Jewish people? No, I said that wrong. They were Jewish people killing all of the ex-Nazis. And like the theme in the plot was we're going to go into black communities and kill off the black communities by getting them addicted to this thing called sugar. What was the name of that? Yo, Reggie said, so should I tell my child he is special when he eats sand? Listen, my auntie, before she died, used to eat red clay from Alabama. Like, used to go out and get a shovel in dirt and eat clay. Apparently, it's good for your digestive system. So, yes, your child is special because he knows more than you do. And the sand apparently is cleaning out his digestive system. No, but he is special. You don't know. One day, maybe he can make flavored sand that people eat and change. I don't know. He is special. But should you say it with negative connotations? Absolutely not. You should say, you are so special. How does that sand taste? If it ain't bothering you, what you eat don't make me ish. So why should I care? It's not doing him any harm unless you're at the playground and cats pee in there and it's like kids playing. That's something different. If he's in his own sandbox eating the sand, have at it. Let me know how that works for you. The truth said time, days, months, years don't exist. It's man-made. We use it for our daily lives, but in reality, those things don't exist. Is it really 2020? If so, can you feel it? How does 2020 feel? It feels like bike life. That's what it feels like, going in circles. I posted a video of Baby Rain this weekend because he was on his bike doing acrobatic-ish. Like, he was doing weirdo stuff. Red Sea, should I call him special? Because I was like, yo, you are so special. Ethiopia year is 2012 right now. I know. Wait, let's talk about time another day, because that's a whole nother conversation that we have to build up to, because not everybody is on that level of the truth. So you and me, I'm there with you. But we do have to get other people to catch up. And the first thing that we have to do is first, change our limiting thinking. Perfectionism. You begin to really believe that great is not as good as perfect, and that perfection is actually attainable. God wasn't even perfect. They even said clearly God is not perfect, because we have people dying and kids chained to things and being raped every day. So, mistakes are made every day. But even Jesus wasn't perfect. There's nothing ever that is perfect except for yesterday's sunset on the damn mountains. Lord, that is a form of perfection, because that was so beautiful. And then sometimes when you be looking at these men and their bodies, that be looking like perfection. But the truth of the matter is, perfectionism is not a real thing. In contrast, the mere high achievers tend to do better than their perfectionistic counterparts because they are generally less stressed and are happy with a job well done. You can only do your best. You can only do your best. And if your best is not good enough for you, then you're going to sit here and stress yourself out trying to do what's better than your best. And it doesn't exist. What is better than your best? Stress, headache, negative self-talk. Stop picking apart and try to zero in on, maybe your best wasn't your best. What could you have done better? Look at the steps in which you took and where and what could you have done differently, and then just move on with that. Beating yourself up about something, like, for instance, transparency. On Friday, I was sending an email and I clicked reply instead of forward. And I did not stop, breathe, and do this thing. And so I sent an email to the wrong person, and there was no way to unsend it. None. I could have beat myself up about it all weekend long. Oh my God, how could I do that? I'm such an idiot. I'm so stupid. Like, nah, it was a mistake. I made a mistake. I apologize. Oh well, my bad. Keep it moving. Like, stop. Because it leads to depression. Some research has shown that negative self-talk can lead to exacerbated feelings of depression. If left unchecked, it can become damaging and lead to suicidal thoughts. How much self-talk do you have to go through in order for you to say, you know what, I'm not good enough. Let me just take my life. Nobody loves me. I'm a burden on my whole family. Like, that might be the extreme version of self-talk, but the fact that you did not go back to school when you knew you wanted to go back to school because you talked yourself out of it is another form of self-talk. Negative self-talk, the lowest level of self-talk. Transparency, real life. So I was going to the grocery store, and first instinct was like, take a left. I was like, nah, take a left. It's always packed over there. I'm not going over there. There's no parking spaces. I'm about to take this right. Personal experiences in the past. It was always packed over there. First instinct, my soul knows everything at all times, told me to make that left. I took the right. And when I took the right, it took me 20 minutes. Couldn't find parking. I finally took the left, and the parking spot was right there waiting for me. That's the lowest level of self-talk that I can describe. Like, it's so easy, just a parking spot. Did it change anything? I wasted 20 minutes, but other than that, like, the lowest, I talked myself out of doing this thing that I knew I should have done. How many times, my charger, when my soul speaks, I listen. Anytime my soul tells me something, I get a feeling to do something, I go ahead and listen. This one time I didn't listen. My soul was like, you should really get your charger right now because you're going to forget it. And I'm like, no, I won't. It's right there. I won't forget it. I get it. 6 hours later, I'm like, my phone dead. Where the charger? Soul was like, you left it. I told you to get it. You didn't get it. Now your phone dead. Oh, well. How many times do you not listen to your first mind? Hunters, thank you, Daddy. That movie with Al Pacino with the sugar being addictive as cocaine is called Hunters with Al Pacino. It was an amazing movie. Do your own due diligence as far as research about sugar being addictive like cocaine, because that is my drug. Unfortunately. How do you spell cocaine? Oh, dyslexia is real. I was trying to find studies for you because that's like nobody ever believes anything unless a study is done about it. And it was rats or mice. And those rats or mice, they give them sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and they kept going back for more and more and more and more and more. And they saw the same effects as when they gave the mice cocaine, and they kept going back and back and back and back for more. And in one of the studies that was done, the mice like completely ignored the cocaine and went straight to the sugar. So in some of the studies, it came out that sugar is more addictive than cocaine, and in others, it's just like, no, but they're equal. Nobody wants to be equal to cocaine, my love. But high fructose corn syrup or fructose corn syrup is like they're definitely one in the same. Refined sugar is 99.4 to 99.7% of pure calories with no minerals, no fats, no proteins, just carbohydrates that spike blood sugar. And it's been something that's been going on. Like, this study has been going on for years. They first started the study in the 1970s. And that, my friend, is why the FDA has been altering all of your food since the 1970s, and why Americans are the most obese in the world because of this thing that we got people addicted to sugar. It was just like, no, sugar and fat are not that bad. Sugar's actually really good for you, but fat is horrible. Stay away from fats. But sugar's good. And over the last 30 years, we've seen a progression of higher when you poke your finger and you have to do your blood sugar, you have diabetes. We've been seeing high cases of diabetes because of it in the last 30 years. Ever since the FDA changed it and we started promoting and advertising that sugars are good for you and the fats are bad. Where would we be today if we promoted like the fats aren't as bad as we thought they were, but the sugars are horrible? We definitely would see differences in ADHD, which is a lot of studies are attributing to the high rates of ADHD is because of the amount of sugar that we as humans are ingesting. And then as parents, as mothers, we then give it to the child, and the child comes out like baby rain. And I'm trying to think of what the hell I ate when I was pregnant, because that Negro is everywhere. Other effects of negative self-talk: your muscles actually become weaker, your stress levels go up, you experience changes in your biochemistry and your hormone levels, and you may even suffer from gastrointestinal, like your intestines, and digestive problems, among other physical symptoms. Studies have shown that negative people tend to be more depressed, are less satisfied with life, are at higher risk of depression and suicide. As a result, you're far more likely to be confident, optimistic, and motivated, and be able to achieve your goals if you activate positive self-talk and alter your negative self-talk. So for some people, shifting their negative thoughts to positive ones is easier said than done. For some people like Tayla Andre, when it comes to sugar, it is extremely difficult. And so there's ways that you can overcome self-talk and, thinking like always or never thinking. This is when you find yourself thinking in terms of always, never, every time, everyone, so on and so on, like all white people, all black people, every time I do this, or everyone tends to do this. Like, when you start thinking about the always or never, like, you actually have to look at each case and really talk to yourself as like, but is it always every time I come to the grocery store, or every time we have a conversation, every time, like, but really, is it every time though? Probably not. And if you actually just take a moment and be mindful of the words that you use internally and externally, your life will completely alter, by simply changing the way you speak to yourself. And so, yes, Daddy, it was a series on Netflix. I'm sorry, I said a movie, right? I'm sorry. My apologies, Daddy. Thank you for correcting me. And that's my real daddy, for those who don't know. Because we were talking about Daddy on Freaky Friday, and that's completely different from my actual father. Overcoming negative self-talk. Other ways is focusing on the negative thinking. When you're so busy looking at everything that's bad in the world and you can't see the good, the truth is life really isn't that bad. It's just what you're focusing on. And so stop focusing on the negative thoughts. And if the minute you see yourself having a negative thought, like, stop it in its tracks. Automatically stop it in its tracks and say, excuse me, how is this, whether you hit it with a God forbid or I rebuke it, sometimes in my negative self-thought, I'm like, nah, I rebuke that. That is not true. That's a false statement. If you go back to the doctor, did I delete him? I didn't think I did. I did. I moved it. So when you go back to the what to say when you talk to yourself, Dr. Shad Helmstetter, when you go back to what he was saying as far as like the negative self-talk and how you talk to yourself, those negative thinking, just stopping yourself in the track and being mindful, like, is this something that I truly believe? Is this something that I truly want to happen? As far as like catastrophic things, when we're thinking like, if I'm scared of getting on a plane because if I get on a plane, I'll crash and die. Isn't it ironic? Did you think? And so I'm thinking about Alanis Morissette was just like, isn't it ironic? What did she say? 10,000 spoons, but all you need is a knife and his beautiful wife. Isn't it? What's the how that damn part go? He waited his whole damn life to catch that flight, and then his plane crashed. And so he thought about his plane crashing for, his 40 years of living on Earth. And he's just like, I'm not going to get on a plane because it's going to crash. I'm not going to get on a plane because it's crashed. Did the plane crash because he thought about it, or did he think about it because he was scared that the plane was going to crash? It's like the cow croaking, I don't know, the rooster roosting when the sun rises, or the sun rises when the rooster crows. It just really is because of your mentality. And that is weird. Daddy, what do you think about that actually? When people, as far as car crashes and train incidents and freak accidents, and do people actually cause these by their thoughts? Because my daddy's on a different level. Do people actually cause these things to happen with their thoughts? Or like, what do you think about that, Daddy? Bill Ray says the plane crashed down and he thought, well, isn't this nice? Oh, thank you. Bill knew the words to Alanis Morissette. Like rain on your wedding day. It's like meeting the man of your dreams and his beautiful wife. But it's really like that self-talk. I have a problem, baby. Like it's nothing wrong with the self-talk. I have conditioned myself to think of this imaginary place in my head that currently does not exist. And so when I have a self-talk, I have to bring myself back to this positive imaginary utopia that I've created. And so it's just a reminder that not like, just as this thing that I'm talking to myself about is not real, it's as fictitious as this place that I've created in my head. Like you have to replace it with something, because we are humans and our brain works a certain way as humans. And so we can't be like, oh, I'm just going to stop talking negative self-talk. You have over 10,000 thoughts per freaking minute. And I say about 50% of mine out loud. But you have all of these thoughts all of the time going on in your head. And if you don't get control of what's going on in your head, they are going to control you. So you can either control your thoughts or be controlled by your thoughts. And whether or not you believe it to be true, it's going to happen. Period. My dude in The Secret, Bob Proctor was just like, whether you believe in electricity or not, electricity can either cook your food or it could cook the man who stuck his fork inside of the electrical unit. Whether you believe in electricity or not, it works. It's there. And it's very similar to the thoughts that take place in your mind. Whether you believe them to exist, or whether you believe that the plane crashed because you thought about it, or it started raining because you knew it was going to rain. Like all of these things, you have to control your mind yourself. And I'm actually thinking right now about rain dances and whether or not that co-creation with the universe is actually, well, I believe it to be possible, but I wonder how many others believe it to be possible. Like as far as so on a regular basis, going back to I cannot function unless the sun is out. I don't do rain dances, but I definitely co-create with the universe for me to get at least a little bit of sunlight throughout the day. So no matter how much it might be raining, thundering, everything throughout the day, I'm like, can I just have like a little bit of sun? Just a little bit. Just like, let me get a little tip of sun. Just, and then I'm all done. And every time, I always get it. I always get a little bit of sun. And so did the sun come out because I prayed for it? I don't know. I like to believe so. I truly do. I like to believe. I don't understand Bill. Elaborate, please. He said something about prison, and that word association makes me think of like the prison in your mind. How much of the prison in your mind do you succumb to? Like as far as the meme that's on social media of the two guys behind bars, and one painted bars and the other one painted what he saw outside, what lied behind the bars. And it's like truly that is how your brain works. You can either focus on the bars that are holding you in, or you can focus on the outside, and the one who drew the bars was like gloomy and, frustrated and annoyed, and you could see like the pain and anger in his face. With the other guy was like, he was happy. It was like he was outside of the prison painting, having a good time. And so it's really like, that is you, my love. You are the perception of everything you think about. And we know from studies that people have healed themselves of different cancers. We know people have been just simply by changing their mind. I am going to beat this. I am going to be healthy. I am. And there's actually meditations for that, like health meditations that I did. So when I got sick, so pre-COVID, when the children and I were sick to our stomachs, we played this health affirmations. So there's health affirmations for everything, my love. And just none of the above. Just think about it. Like, how many times have you invested in you?
It's time to consciously choose the life you desire. And it all begins by what you think. Your thoughts create your reality. If you want change in your life, it begins by changing your thoughts. And in changing your thoughts, you are shifting or shedding old ways and moving into a new reality. Use these affirmations to begin to program your subconscious mind. By listening to them entering your conscious mind, you will begin to imprint your subconscious mind. And not necessarily asking how change will occur, but rather just allowing, trusting, letting go, and allow your new thoughts to be born when divine timing is called. Listen to these affirmations for 30 days at any time, preferably as you drift off to sleep, to allow them to enter into your subconscious mind with a...
One of the things that I recently learned, Helmstetter, Shad Helmstetter, listening to his book, and so listening to his book while also then checking in with, there's a study guide for Shad Helmstetter's What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Just listening to those two, the audiobook and the self-help study guide, really helped me understand, like, when you drift off to sleep, and hold on, pause, because there's one more book that I listened to that is like the science of the mind. Hold on, let me look at my library because I want to tell you guys exactly what it is. The Power of Your Subconscious and How to Change Your Mind. is really the other two books that I'm currently listening to that kind of like lay out for you the way that your brain works and what you say or the conversations that you have or what you do right before you go to bed. So right before you drift off into sleep, that moment is so critical for you and for your development. And so right before I personally go to sleep, I have these affirmations that I say to myself before falling asleep. So if you're watching television before you go to sleep, these are the things that are imprinted in your brain. If you watch, music videos or something violent before you go to sleep, like these things are in a sense altering your DNA as well. We've had this conversation before about how studies have shown that your DNA alters anytime you ingest anything, anytime that you drink anything, you eat something. What you listen to changes the way that your brain works, changes the way that your DNA works within your body. Anytime that you are out in the sun or change the different climate or atmosphere that you're in, every time you enter your body into a new space or any space, your body adapts. Going back to the conversation that we didn't get to have with Anari about your body adapting to the cold and to the wind. And if you're always putting yourself outside, your body has to work harder. And so that way you're cut and lean and not as big as you want, as you may currently be because your body's working harder. Like we are absolutely amazing creatures where we are able to self-adapt in any environment, all environments. And so when you take a look at, really quickly, when you take a look at the Africans in Africa that quote unquote have like these big noses, science has told us the reason why their nostrils are bigger is because the elevation of Africa in comparison to the sea level, the air is thinner. They need to take in more air to take in the oxygen that they actually need to breathe. When you take a look at some of the oceanic like the islanders that go deep diving for oysters, the islanders that can go meters beyond what regular humans can do, they have adapted, their lungs have adapted, their ability to hold their breath for 5 and 6 minutes when the rest of the world would be dead. When you take a look at people who live in cold climates and how their bodies have changed and adapted, like our bodies are magnificent works of art. And if you understand how this machine works, those were two different analogies. Our body is a machine. It's a beautiful piece of art. But if you know how that machine works, you can utilize it to the fullest. This right here, this phone is a machine. It can do 1,000,001 things. But if I don't know how to work this machine, I'm only going to use the things that I know how to use, and I'm going to lose the other functions that this phone can do. And that is the same thing with our bodies. We have to learn our bodies and understand our bodies, and not just the mind, but the body as a whole, and understand how it works so we can then control it differently and utilize it to the best of her ability. And I say her because it's my body and that's who I'm in reference to. And so I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. We have come to the top of the hour for Motivational Monday. I hope you guys truly walked away with understanding how your brain works, and not just like the motivational aspect of it, but the fact that your brain is this thing that can be trained. And regardless of what you say to your brain, Tayla, you're white. My brain doesn't know that to be false. It doesn't. It takes everything to be true. Tayla, you're fat. Oh, I'm taking that to be true. Tayla, you're amazing. I'm taking that to be true. Tayla, you're Asian. I'm taking that to be true. Like everything you say to yourself is truth. You can never lie to yourself. I'm thinking about people that are habitual liars, that just like their brain has been trained to believe everything that comes out of their mouth. So even if it is bull, they still believe it. It's because they have trained their brain to believe this thing. They could pass polygraph test and everything else because they believe it so much. You just have to train yourself, train your mind so you can train your body. And that is what Tayla is in the process of doing. So I can go out here with a flat tummy and a fat ass. while eating my vegetables and doing my squats. And so I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Everything Tayla Andre, TaylaAndre.com. Bill, thank you for downloading the app. I just sent you the book. Please let me know. Like, I'm interested in your feedback. If you have read the book, please send me your feedback, because I just want to make sure that you guys are actually getting the knowledge that I am sending you, spitting to you, and that is working for you. And so with that being said, make sure you download the Spark FM app on your smartphones, and we will see you mañana. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. Mwah.